Hi, I'm Bill Wright and I am the Reform UK parliamentary candidate for the Folkestone and Hythe constituency. I'm recording this short video for the benefit of young people, typically under 20. You might be sitting there thinking, what's this old fart got to do with me? And who are Reform UK and what relevance do they have for me? I'm pretty sure if I was your age, I'd be thinking the same. But there are some relevant factors that I'd like you to take into account, and I'll try and keep them short and sweet. Firstly, you are the future. I'm certainly not. 10 years' time, I should definitely be retired and looking forward to a pretty relaxing lifestyle, mostly in the pub. You, however, should be at the prime of your life, however that represents itself. Hopefully you'll be happy, healthy. Maybe you'll be a parent. Maybe you'll have a great job. Maybe you'll be creative. Maybe you'll be a sports person. Who knows? But I wish you every success. One thing that is probably almost certain in your future, though, is income tax. Welcome. You're probably not going to like that so much. I certainly didn't when I was 21. I finished college and I got my first job. My salary was £4,800 a year, which was enough. But I was stony broke, so I was counting down the days until I got paid. And on payday, I looked at my pay slip and it said 287 quid. I didn't like that at all. And I went straight up to the personnel department and said, I'm really sorry, but there's been a serious mistake here. 4,800 a year is my salary. That's 400 a month, not 287. And that caused a lot of merriment in the personnel department. Everybody was laughing. And they were saying, welcome to the real world, Mr. Wright. If you want to know what's happened to your 113 missing pounds, we suggest you go down the M6, down the M1, down the Edgware Road until you get to Downing Street, knock on the door of number 11, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and ask him what he's done with your 113 quid. Because that's life, mate. And I wasn't very happy because I'd earned 400. Didn't like sharing much of that, if at all. And you'd be thinking, well, that's normal, Bill, get over it. But hey, here's the thing. You vote Reform UK, and we have a policy that says no strings, no ifs, no buts. If you earn up to £20,000, you keep everything. You keep it all. That benefits everybody, but it really benefits lower paid people. We believe that is important for people to reward anybody that gets out of work, gets out of bed and goes to work. It gives you a start in life when you often need it. So that's policy number one. Please think about that carefully. The first £20,000 a year is free of income tax. Policy number two. If you're to be happy and healthy in the future, you're going to need health. You're going to need the NHS, but preferably not in its present form. The NHS is effectively broken. It's not fit for the purpose intended. Evidence? You try and get a GP appointment. Very difficult. Worse, if you need hospital treatment, a consultation, an operation, you will be on a waiting list like 7 million other people. It's not acceptable. It's not good enough for the British people. We have plans to fix that. We have plans to attract far more resources into the NHS so we can deal with the demand that's there and reduce waiting lists, preferably to nothing. I haven't got the time to share all the detail. That's in our manifesto. Thirdly, if you're going to be happy in the future, you're going to need to be free. We were you maybe should be old enough to remember the COVID pandemic, 2020, 2021, lockdowns. Lockdowns were a despicable strategy that was imposed by my generation onto yours. Proven beyond doubt now that the younger generation were never in any danger from COVID. Chance of you dying from COVID was about the same as being struck by lightning. Lots of young people got it, and the vast majority just spat it out. I know loads of young people that had COVID. They didn't understand the big deal because they had the resilience just to throw it off, just like a mild flu. We would never do that to you again. We would never lock down again. That was the wrong strategy. Sweden proved that. Finally, and this is the bad news, guys, this is awful. Finally, do you have any clue about the scale of the national debt? You probably don't, because the mainstream politicians from all parties have a vested interest in keeping this very secret. But right now, the national debt is approaching £3 trillion. That's a 3 with 12 zeros. It's a horrendous number that's too big to comprehend. Why is that relevant to you? Because it's just like any other debt. And the government have to pay more than £100 billion a year on interest. Why is that relevant? Because that's £100 billion a year more, for example, than they spend on all of education. So that money is being wasted. Where does it come from? It comes from taxes. You might think, well, that doesn't bother me, but by gum, it will, mate. That is a horrendous problem coming right down the tracks in your direction. Because this government, and equally the Labour and Lib Dem parties, are simply planning to pass that on into the future. And you are the future. We at Reform think that's pretty despicable for people of our generation to rack up huge debts and then dump them on you when we're happily retired, putting on our feet and not working. That's not fair on a future generation. It's wrong, and only Reform are prepared to do something about it. We have plenty of other policies. If you're interested in those, please do check out www.reformfh.co.uk. And finally, if anybody says, forget Reform, they're a bunch of racists, nothing could be further from the truth. None of our policies have anything whatsoever to do with the colour of people's skin. It's rubbish. But what we are concerned about is the impact of mass immigration on the UK. Mass immigration, as defined as a population the size of Manchester, coming to the UK every single year. We don't think that's sustainable. And neither does the majority of the British population, whether they vote Labour, Conservative, whatever. It's not sustainable, and that will impact your future unless it's addressed now. Only Reform UK will tackle this properly. As I said, thank you for listening, and please do check out further information as you wish. Thank you again.